Howdy and welcome back to the workshop. My name is Will Stelter. I'm a professional bladesmith. I've been doing it for almost 12 years now. Fun fact about me, one time I licked a piece of uranium. That's a true story, but it is totally unrelated to today's video, which is about the Lotus Flower pattern Damascus. There's been a big mix-up and I'm excited to share with you what that is. In today's episode, we're going to be doing a continuation of the Lotus Flower Damascus knife. Now, you may remember from the last episode, part 4, I did a reveal of the first attempt at doing the Lotus Flower. However, since that time, I went to Blade Show, and I just kind of decided, after I was like showing people pictures of it, I was like, yeah, it's supposed to be a Lotus. It doesn't really look like it. So I came back, and I took the second half of the bar, and I busted it into a new Lotus Flower pattern. Now the thing is, what I did on the last one, the reason that I didn't like it so much was that the top petal was a little bit too long, but on this one, in the step where I ground down the outside of the leaf, I just did a lot more grinding, so the top leaf is a lot smaller on this new pattern, but other than that, it was the exact same process, so I just did time lapse of it, and this is where we're at now. It actually looks like a Lotus Flower. I am just over the moon. It looks so good. I am so much more excited than I was when we did the first one, which everyone kind of agreed looks like a throwing star. So we'll figure out something else to do with that, but we're not going to use it on this because we have a much better pattern to work with now. The next steps that we have are going to be forging out the main body of the knife. You guys might remember from part 3 or 4, some other part, I forged out this big billet of Damascus right here. I forget how many layers it is, but it'll turn into a high layer pattern with some very dark areas in it. But for now, we need to clean up this bar, chop it up into a bunch of pieces, and get to restacking it. But for now, we're gonna head into the grinding room, take this to the angle grinder first to clean off all of that rough forge scale, and then to the belt grinder to get everything super clean. Okay, so I did a quick and dirty DET anneal on these bars, and then I tried to cut them both at the same time, and it popped the blade off of the bandsaw, which basically meant there's too much blade pressure, pops the blade off. So I'm gonna have to cut them one at a time, which is a bummer, but I think we finally got it worked out. But hot dog, this was frustrating. Some expletives may have been released into the shop by Isaiah, of course.
Cotton-headed ninny-muggins.
Now that we got the bar all chopped up and ground, it's time to weld it together and get it re-welded into our final layer count that we'll forge our blade from.
I'm gonna interrupt the forging segment real quick. My name's Matt and I wanna tell you about something neat that I've been working on in the shop over the past week. This is a new knife offering, the Arrow Hunter. I designed this knife to be a medium-sized hunting/camp knife and all-around great user in the woods. For this initial batch, there are two options. One has a canvas micarta handle and the blade is Pop's Pro Cut steel, a new pretty hot steel to the market. And the other option is an OD Green G10 micarta handle with the tried and true 80 CRV2 high carbon steel. Both of these have been Cerakoted matte black to give a clean, crisp, durable finish that'll hold up great in the woods. So if you're looking for a knife to carry with you in the outdoors this summer or on a hunt this fall, head on over to steltermanufacturing.com and pick up an Arrow Hunter today.
So now to finish the first step of the forging process, I'm just gonna draw out the tang. That'll give me a good handle to hang on to while I'm doing the patterning and while we do the rest of the forging. All right, so now that we have our chef's knife general shape forged out, and Lotus pattern V2 in this hexagon shaped bar, we need to do a couple of things. We need to get the blade ready to accept the Lotus pattern, and we need to reduce down the size of the Lotus pattern. So we're gonna fire the forge back up. I know it seemed like it just happened that we just turned it off, but actually that was a whole weekend ago. I already had a whole weekend of hanging out. I went to church, worked on some knives. It was a great time. We're gonna fire the forge back up. We're gonna reduce this down to 1/2 inch bar stock. We're gonna round it out underneath the Coal Iron Works press. And then once it's round, we'll be able to turn it on the lathe to clean up the outside of the bar and give it a really uniform size. So for now, let's fire up the forge and then we'll talk about what we need to do with the chef's knife to get it ready. Okay, so in order to get this ready to accept the Lotus pattern, I wanna do a couple of things. I want to drill in with a big wide drill bit and do kind of a raindrop pattern on both sides of the blade. And then in some of those raindrops, I really would like to drill all the way through with maybe a 3/16 inch drill bit. So what happens is when you have a straight layer laminate billet like this, we've got our layers like this. There's more than that. There's like 280 layers in this bar. If you were to like say cut off the corner like this, what would happen? What you'd see in that corner is all of the layers exposed. And that's basically what we're doing with the drill bit. As we drill down and take a little core section out, we're exposing all of those layers that we've just drilled down into. And then when we forge it down flat again, it brings those layers to the surface. And then you get kind of a radiating pattern. And so that's a raindrop pattern, very common, kind of a beginner level surface manipulation pattern. And so what we're gonna do is that, and I want it to kind of look like raindrops on water because lotuses float on water. And then we're gonna drill all the way through as well. And so what happens when we do that and then when we drift it out is we're still gonna have that effect around the outside, but we'll have a hole in the center. And so it'll be a little bit more organic. The way that we'll manipulate the material is just gonna look really, really good.
That's my favorite.
And it'll interact well with the other raindropping that's happening around the outside. So that's the plan. I'm gonna make a little template of the blade so that I can do the same pattern on either side. And then we'll do one pattern, drill all the way through from the first side. And that way we'll have the radiating pattern around the through holes and then a similar matching pattern on the other side of the actual raindrop. So let's make our template and then start drilling. It's gonna be a lot of drilling. New plan, I'm just gonna randomize the raindrops themselves and just do the pattern for the through holes basically. I'm gonna clean up the outside of this on the belt grinder just so we have a nicer surface to drill onto and to center punch mark onto, and then we'll get to drilling.
I did a full anneal on this in the kiln. There's no way that it should be hard. But I just smoked 3 drill bits trying to get through it.
Disappointed!
In other news, the forge is hot, so we'll go reduce down that bar. All right, so we've got the Lotus billet reduced down. It's so cool that you can see the flower pattern on the end. I think that's just incredible. Got it reduced down to 5/8 inch round bar, so we'll turn it down to, I don't know, maybe 7/16, a little bit below 1/2 inch. We need to make a drift to drift out these holes. Hopefully this thing comes out of the forge soft enough that we can finish doing our drilling, but if not, then we'll toss it in and have it annealed again. So while we wait, let's go ahead and start to make that drift. I think we've got some 1/2 inch 4140 laying around. So what I'll do is a tapered drift that has a long point that'll make it through those like 1/4 inch holes, and then is tapered on the back so you can drive it all the way through. So we're done with profile forging. We're just gonna do drifting and patterning on the knife from here on out, but we gotta wait for these things to heat up and cool down respectively before we can do that. There's a bar of 4340, and it's a little bit big as of yet. I think this is 5/8. So we'll get this thing chopped, and then we'll turn it down in the lathe, and then we'll do some grinding on it. Now that I'm finishing up the grinding on the drift, the blade should be fully softened in the kiln, so we're gonna pop it out of there, take it over to the drill press, and see if we can poke a couple holes in it.
that went extremely medium. The knife got thinner than I thought it was going to, which is a little surprising. We lost like a lot of meat off of it, especially because I didn't do any actual forging on the flats yet. So that's a little worrisome. And then this outside ring here, that one is worrying me a little bit. I'm worried that when I drill it out, that one might poke through. I can maybe TIG weld and fuss with it, but we'll see how it goes. No point in worrying until we get there. It looks like Swiss cheese right now, mixed with an alligator. So that's pretty cool. And then the bar of Lotus V2 is cooling down from its annealing cycle, so it's ready to turn on the lathe once it cools down. But I think we're gonna have to call it there for today's episode. That's what we call a cliffhanger. Because we are very close to knowing if this is gonna work out or not. So hopefully you guys enjoy suspense. I enjoy suspense from time to time, and I really appreciate you guys sticking along. We've had a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot in the whole journey of doing the whole Lotus flower. This is an entirely new Damascus welding technique to me. I've never tried it before, so hopefully it goes all right, but if it doesn't, then we'll just do it again. It's a beautiful thing. And before I let you go, I do want to let you know that we are going to have a couple of fun knives up for sale on the website this week. Errol Hunter, designed and handcrafted by Mr. Journeyman Bladesmith, Matthew Susan Hartwig. He's doing a great job on G10 and micarta handles. They look phenomenal. The sheaths are super cool. And if you're gonna be hunting this year, probably need an Errol and an ashtray. Probably a bottle opener too. You know what, actually, the leather patch hats, perfect for hunting. So thank you guys so much for sticking along and for watching the whole journey here. If you haven't seen the previous parts, then you probably have no idea what's happening, and that's fine. I don't know what's happening most of the time. But we really appreciate your guys' support, not only of the channel, but of Stelter Manufacturing, so thank you guys so much. Thank you to our patrons for patronizing us, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.